Hi, beautiful humans. Let's talk about Rumi and music and why that even matters. Rumi was a sage, a saint, a mystic in the Sufi tradition, which is the esoteric heart of Islam. His work was so universal and beloved in the modern world, but that's not a modern invention. He actually had followers from other faiths, including Christianity and Judaism, even in his era. There's a beautiful, so he was 13th century, and there's a beautiful manuscript from, I think it was around the 16th century, which articulates mourners from the Christian Jewish traditions attending his funerary rites. Something so beautiful about this recognition of something that is deeper than our human-made boundaries around culture and religion. Those things can serve, but we have to remember that there is a deeper truth, and that truth is love. I believe that's why Rumi's work, his poetry, really resonates because it speaks that language of love that is our birthright as human beings. Why is it our birthright? Love is our true nature. It's the truth that we're here to remember, discover, live, express, share, and manifest in this world. And that's something that we all have in common, regardless of the method that we use to get to that realization. Then we have the quality of music. They say that love is the universal language. I believe it completely. I think that music is a pretty close second. There is something about music that can help us connect with feeling. When you have a group of people together in a space listening, they're moving in this energy of the crowd and the performers, and there's something very powerful about that. If we utilize that consciously, if we connect with that musical expression, we have the chance to cut through a lot of our mental anguish and come to a place of simplicity and realization of the sanctity of what it is to be human. When we were creating this album that I wanted to write, that brought together beautiful poetry of Rumi, which I used in the Rumi Oracle, so translations by Rassouli, this beautiful group of musicians that I've been working with to generate the album we're calling Rumi Nowruz, and I'll tell you why that's called that in a minute. But when we were doing this, we really wanted to bring forth what it is to be human in all of the fullness. So one of the things that I really take from Rumi's poetry that means something to me is this depth and gamut of emotion, from grief and loss and sadness and surrender, and then this sense of freedom and bliss and joy and happiness and openness and wonder at the mystery of life. So there's the whole range which the heart is capable of holding and experiencing, and brings depth to our humanity. And I think one of the things that's so inspiring about Rumi's life is that his greatest loss, the things that caused him the most suffering, were the actual fountain, the well from which his inspiration and prolific poetry really flowed in its fullness. So there's a genius there about taking the suffering and transforming it into fertilizer for something very sacred, which the soul knows how to do. And perhaps you've had experiences of that in your life already. But I find Rumi very much encouraging of that in us. So when we bring music into the equation, we have this sense of the sound of what it is to be human, along with this deep spirit of the words, which to me is very beautiful and empowering. And that leads us to Nowruz. Why did we call it that? This is the festival, a Persian festival, celebrated by millions of people around the world from different ethnic groups, which is in itself a demonstration of diversity and unity. But it connects to the energy of spring, to hope, to rebirth, to renewal, to life and aliveness and vitality, and all of that beautiful, luscious sense of just being completely vitalized. So I thought we need this in the world. We need this sense of this energy of hope and this beautiful feeling of the complexity, but also the sacredness of what it is to be a human, to be having this spiritual journey in a human form. So I wanted to share it for that reason. And I think there's something about this in this day and age where we need to remember the value of our souls, the things that aren't always acknowledged or even really understood in contemporary mainstream culture that may privilege certain forms of outer success as being the most valuable and worth everything to strive towards, accumulating massive wealth or whatever it may be. It's not that there's anything necessarily wrong with that if that's part of your soul journey, but as a just cut and dried value, there's nothing in it that can really nourish the soul. The things that we go after in our lives need to really feel like they're connected to our passion for life, our sense of inspired purpose, what it is that moves us. And it's not about what that outer thing is, it's about what the inner reality is that drives it. When that is in alignment, then whatever we are doing, whatever part of life or the world we are moving in and developing and growing within ourselves and in our lives is part of a much greater movement of wisdom and love that can benefit and bring joy and greater light into our world, which is very much needed. So the album is really about finding a sense of connection to our own inner wisdom, living it, living our humanity with a sense that it's connected to this deep divinity, and trusting that no matter how crazy or chaotic or difficult things may be at certain times, there is always this blessed and beautiful becoming that's at the heart of our journey and why we are here. And that's what I wanted to express in this album. I hope you enjoy it. So much love from my heart to yours, dear one.